everybody. Whew. Hello, you guys. I'm gonna give you guys a minute to come on before I start yipping away. I'm excited to be here. I better get my tissues ready. Forgive the way I look, you guys. I have had an emotional morning, let me tell you. It has been quite emotional in my world. Normally, I would not get up here and spill all of the stuff I'm about to spill today. However, I'm never going to get anything done unless and until I do, because it won't stop buzzing around my head or my heart. I can't think. I can't sleep. I literally had 4 hours sleep last night, and I was still up. I was up bright and early this morning, and it's still in my head, and I was crying. I was an emotional mess, and I'm like, okay, I know I got to share this story, get it out, and then I'll be fine, and we can move on tomorrow. So hello, you guys can hear me. Let me know you're here in the comments. And as usual, you guys, please help me help you and share this video. And today we're going to get into a little personal story for you guys about why that is so important to me. I want you guys to know that I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. You guys have no idea how much you all mean to me. Yesterday was a beautiful event. It was so beautiful. You know what was really cool was that one of my clients owns the spa in Didsbury, and she's the one that asked me to do the event there at her spa. Beautiful little spa. And I was a little hesitant this year because last year we had all of our and estheticians, whatever you call them, back out the night before, or the morning of, I should say, and we were kind of left scrambling last minute, and it was just a lot more complicated the first year, right? And so this year I was a little bit more hesitant, but Andrea was like really insistent, and she's got two girls on the other side, and I'm a mama too, and I could feel them going, let's do it, let's do it. I'm like, fine, let's do it. So I go to Didsbury to do this event. Didsbury, of all places, you guys have no idea. Didsbury. Now, a lot of the stories you guys hear me tell about when I was haunted as a little girl are from Didsbury. That's where I was living when I was a child, and the gifts really started getting bad. But not just that. Yesterday on Mother's Day was also my oldest son's 30th birthday. See, this is where the emotions come in. I'm sorry. You guys, I'm sorry if I cry through this. You're just going to have to bear with me. My son came to me when I was 16. I got pregnant for my very first boyfriend. And he just happened to own, that boyfriend just happened to own the same bay. So, back up, Tracy. Where the spa was in this little strip mall, that bay in that strip mall is the same bay that my son's father, my very first boyfriend, owned 30 years ago when my son was conceived. In that exact same bay. It's now Andrea's spa. And we lived next door in the duplex that was next door. So 30 years later, I find myself in that exact spot on that exact day. I tell you guys all the time, Spirit's talking to us all the time, and they talk to us through synchronicities and cooperative incidences and alignment. They will align us in certain places at certain times and whatnot for specific reasons, right? The alignment of me being in that spot on that day yesterday was overwhelming. If you guys aren't from Alberta, Didsbury is a little town an hour north of Calgary, and I'm in Calgary now. I've lived here for many years now. Like I said, I have deep ties out there. So it brought me full circle. But there's a lot of things that kind of go along with that yesterday that just have my mind spinning. And so this is where there's going to be a lot of personal information shared here. So the thing about it is that I was a 16-year-old kid left an abusive home to stay with my boyfriend and got pregnant in that exact spot where I was yesterday, 30 years before. Scared 16-year-old kid. While I was pregnant, when I got pregnant, he wanted me to have an abortion, and I wouldn't. So he left me, dumped me, moved away, left me to go back with my mom. And my childhood home was a very abusive place. I love my mom to death now, and that woman has worked really hard to make it up to me in my lifetime. However, that was not the woman that you guys saw yesterday, is not the woman that raised me. The woman you saw yesterday had a very bad brain aneurysm a few months before my son was born. When I was 16, she had that brain aneurysm. The end of February of 1993. And so she was extremely handicapped back then. She couldn't really walk or talk. She had to learn it all over again, right? And I was kind of thrust out into the world after I had this baby with nobody. And I put myself back to school, and I went to this little school. They've moved it now, Ernest Manning. Some of you guys probably know it, in Calgary. At 17, I got myself back into school. They have a daycare in that school. I don't know if they still do, but they used to. They had a daycare in the school. And so I could go to school while having him in the school with me. And I befriended a girl there. Her name was also Tracy. We were the Tracys. And her family just kind of adopted me. I didn't really have any family of my own. My dad wasn't in my life at that time. A little bit, but lived out in Ontario. He had been mostly distanced from my life. His mother was the most important person in my life. However, my mom and dad's relationship was very abusive, so I'd been strained from my father, but not from his mother. We kept in contact even though my mom moved us from Ontario to Alberta when I was 5. I kept in contact with that lady throughout my entire life. She was the most important person in my life. Sorry. She was the one person that I knew that loved me in this world. Anyway, so I went out on my own and I made friends with this family, and this Tracy girl, her parents kind of adopted like me and my son. They were like my parents. They helped with my son. They would take him on weekends to give me a break. They would take him to hockey games. They drove me to doctor's appointments and shopping and all kinds of things like that. And over the next number of years, my son started developing a huge amount of behavior issues. No matter what I did, he was setting fires. I don't want to get too personal because my son is still here and he's a great guy and that's his story and I don't want to tell too much, but needless to say, he was having a really hard time. And those people who I adored like parents, they just kept telling me it's my fault because I'm not disciplining him enough. I don't spank him, and I wouldn't spank him because I was abused so badly as a kid that I was like, no, that's not how I'm going to treat my child. I did everything I could to take parenting classes and learn as much parenting skills as I possibly could because I knew that I didn't have any. You only can do what you know, and if you're raised with somebody who doesn't really have parenting skills, then you don't just instantly know them. You have to go learn them. So I did that, but he wasn't getting any better. And then when he was 7, I found out through a series of very dramatically painful events that my son had been very dramatically sexually abused by that family. Raped, sodomized, the whole deal. The whole deal, I mean, had a big scar in a place you shouldn't have a scar. And so it was one of the hardest and darkest times of my life. And I didn't know I was a medium at that time, you guys. I don't know what I knew at that time. I'm about to read you something that will explain why I'm telling you all this. I just know that when I found out, I happened to be living in a house that belonged to this family. So it was like my friend Tracy, her parents, and it was her little brother that had been sexually abusing my son for years, since he was 2 until he was 7. When I found out, we were living in this house that they owned, and their mother lived downstairs and I lived upstairs. So I fled and I went to a women's shelter. And from there, it was a complicated process because children who are very sexually abused, they're very sexually curious. And so I couldn't leave my son alone. He was so little. I couldn't leave him alone because he didn't have appropriate behaviors around other children. And so I was stuck to this boy 24/7 and trying to figure out how to heal him and how to heal me and trying to forget the childhood that I had fled from. I didn't know who I was. Every day I was just trying to stay alive, you understand? That's it. I was trying to stay alive and I was trying to keep that kid alive. And the only thing that I knew was that I loved that boy more than anything in this world. So I went to a women's shelter. And I was there for longer than anybody else. I was there for 6 weeks because we were fleeing a different type of violence. We weren't fleeing a relationship violence situation. I was fleeing a family that I loved and I trusted. And that who, when I confronted them with this, denied it, looked me right in the eye, laughed in my face, and said, "Prove it." And you know what? Unless you've ever been a parent of a child that's been deeply sexually abused and had the police look you in your eyes and say, "I'm sorry, your child is too young to name the predator. We can't depend on this in court, so the predator goes scot-free," then you can never understand that pain that a mama feels. You can't even get justice. You know, if the child is older and they can talk about it and stuff a little bit more, then maybe you have a chance at getting justice. But when your child is young, literally, the cops look you in your eye and go, unless you have physical documented proof, unless your child can point it out at them, they go scot-free. To this day, still are. Here nor there. That brings me to what the letter I want to read to you. After we left that shelter, the Calgary Women's Emergency Shelter, one little tiny room where I spent every single minute with my son, making sure nobody could ever hurt him again, and he couldn't hurt anybody else, and trying to figure out how to heal. I was recommended to this other shelter, a second stage shelter. Oh, I'm sorry. I told you guys I'm going to be blowing my nose and doing all kinds of gross, embarrassing stuff the whole time through, so please forgive me. The Sunshine Center is a second stage shelter here in Calgary, and they kind of take women in, and they give you your own apartment for like a year, and they provide in-house residential community services and counseling services. There were services for me, there were services for my son. Counseling was the number one recommendation to be there, though, or the number one requirement to be there. In order to stay there and in order to order to qualify for the low income housing that they provide for women leaving abusive situations, you just have to agree to the counseling, which I wanted, but was, if any of you have ever tried to go through counseling when you're dealing with deep traumatic issues like this, it's not easy. It's ugly. It's messy. It's painful. And that's where I found myself 30 years ago. When I met this counselor, the first counselor they gave me was just not acceptable. And she made me kind of She didn't understand anything that I was going through. I shouldn't say not acceptable for me, not okay for me. I'm very mean almost. Like I just remember feeling even more hurt, and I was ready to run and give up. And then they're like, no, we have this other counselor and we want you to see her. And she kept calling me and she just kept insisting. Like, I was ready to die, you guys. I just wanted to die and check out, and I was okay with that. And I wasn't going to follow their rules no more. I wasn't listening to no one. I was done. I was as feral as you could get emotionally. It's just this lady would not leave me alone. Throughout many of you, my throughout many years after I stayed at that shelter, this lady was in my life and helping me and there for me through many traumas in my life right after that. For many, until a number of years ago. But I'll get to that in a second. I haven't seen this lady in a very great number of years when I started doing this work. See, Sunshine is a very Christian based, faith based community. And they don't judge. When I was there, I didn't feel judged. The first counselor, definitely. This next one, no. Most of the staff there, no. I have nothing but positive, amazing things to say about Sunshine. They saved my life. Um, but the last number of years, things have changed. And I don't know what made me write this letter to her. Um, I haven't seen her in a number of years. I've tried to reach out the last few years and I've been very much pushed away. And I've tried to reach out um, a couple of months, no, not a couple of months ago, maybe even a month ago. I went through an emotional dip. I tell you guys, we do this all the time. Life is like a heartbeat. We go up, we go down, we go up, we go down. It's supposed to be that way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go through a down moment. It still feels like shit. And when I'm in that down moment, I was like, God, this is hard. And you're going to understand what I mean by this when I'm done this letter and I'm done what I have to say. And I was like, God, this is hard. And I don't know if this is what you still want me to do. I don't have a lot of support. Nobody in my personal life supports me. I can share this work, my reels, my posts. It doesn't matter what I make it and post it on my personal page, and my personal family, my personal support team that's supposed to be there cheering me on and loving me, they don't care. They don't post, they don't like, they don't share, they don't nothing. They're done with me talking about all this spiritual stuff. Anyway, so sometimes I get, and you guys have heard me talk about this before. It's like some of you even said blah blah blah, get over it. It's like whatever. Okay, you don't care, move along, but you don't understand either. So anyway, where am I? So about a month ago, I was in one of those down heartbeat movements, whatever you want to call it, down beats, down waves of the universe, of the world. And I was like, I need a sign, God. I need you to pull out all the stops. I need you to give me a sign that is so big and so dramatic that will let me know that you want me to keep going in this field, that you want me to keep doing this work, because I get so much resistance and so much hate sometimes, and the people that I love the most hate me for it sometimes. And I just need to know. And sometimes I feel like I'm up here begging you guys, please help me help you, share this and stuff. I have to beg people or they don't. And so sometimes it feels like I'm just forcing things, right? And so I ask God, I'm like, give me a sign I can't miss that lets me know that you want me to still do this work. Now, the story about the counselor has nothing to do with this little prayer I said to God about a month ago. Two don't even go hand in hand until yesterday. I didn't realize that they were even connected. A month or so ago, I started thinking about that old counselor, and I was like, I have this Mother's Day event coming up. I need to write this lady a letter. And I'm not going to use her specific name on here because I don't want to put anybody personal anything on there. But I'm just going to call her counselor for today. And so I wrote this letter for her, and I want to share it with you all. And it's extraordinarily raw, and it's extraordinarily personal, so please forgive me if I cry through this. I asked 5 ways if I'm supposed to do this, and God kept saying yes, and yes, and yes, and yes, and share the letter, share the letter, share the letter. So here I am. I'm going to share the letter, because if I don't, I won't sleep, and I can't eat, and I can't think, and you won't understand the beauty of yesterday and how amazing Spirit and God is, or why you won't understand any of this story unless I share this letter. So forgive the dorky glasses. I can't read without them. And it's a little bit of a long letter, so I apologize for that. But this is what I sent to her. Hello, my dear old friend. I hope you are well. I think of you so very often. Every once in a while, I look you up on Facebook, hoping to see an updated picture showing you healthy and happy. You have been in my daily prayers for the last 20 years. I think the older I get, the deeper I appreciate you and the impact you had in my life. I don't know if you really understand just how spiritual and special that connection of ours was back then, or how many lives it would impact now. Thousands. That is the answer. I am not exaggerating either. Had you not stepped in and fought for me at that moment in time, I probably would not be here today. The world had crushed my soul emotionally and spiritually. I had zero coping skills and even less life skills or boundaries. Facts. Give me a second, you guys. I can't even see. It's funny when I think back. No boundaries. Oh, great. There goes my freaking mascara. Sorry, you guys. Remember, I have makeup on. This is why I usually don't cry when I'm up here. Anyway, get your shit together, Tracy. Get through this. I had zero coping skills and even less life skills or boundaries. I thought about ways to die on a daily basis. Every single person I had ever trusted up until that point had hurt me, betrayed me, or used my pain to pad their own pockets. I don't know if one could get any more lost in pain than I was back then. I guess in a sense you could say I was emotionally feral and frazzled 99% of the time. Sunshine Center wanted to kick me out a few times, and I think I was totally fine with that, because I knew deep down that if it actually came down to that, they would be pulling me out in a body bag. I had completely given up. But God had other plans. He sent the one genuine soul who could get through to me. You. You had to be 1,000% genuine, because a feral animal can smell bullshit and ulterior motives from a million miles away. It's built deep into our survival instincts. How many of you know that? But there you were one day, just smack dab in the middle of my life, and nothing I did could shake you. I have struggled for many years to find the words to explain just how miraculous what you did for me was. I finally can do that now. I think I finally understand perfectly. I had to truly understand who I really am before I could understand to explain it to anyone else. It's actually really, really simple. I was like Helen Keller. If you don't know who she was the blind and deaf girl in this world who didn't know how to speak, had no way to communicate. And you were the patient and insistent teacher who gave me skills to cope with the world around me. You gave me wisdom to understand my pain so I could choose to heal it. You gave me patience, kindness, and empathy when I had never experienced any before. You forced me to look at my emotions and deal with them instead of running from them or hiding from them. when you grow up with this type of emotion and you are, as a child, telling people about their dead people around them and they don't understand, and you get beat for it or you get hated for it, you learn to hide every emotion you have. It froze. You learn to hide every emotion you have. And at that point, that's exactly where it was. Anyway. You see, I experience emotion a little stronger than most people because I am deeply empathic. But because of such traumatic environments and situations throughout my entire life and childhood, I was quite literally emotionally feral. I had no way to understand what was happening around me or inside me, so I instinctively reacted and lashed out at everything and everyone around me. The tools you gave me, such as writing, breathing, the tools I teach you guys, and grounding. It was her who put these damn stones in my hand that first time. It was her that gave me those stones and taught me to ground myself. Anyway. Gave me the ability to interpret and understand the intense energies all around me. Once I could understand them, I could choose to heal them. Oh, but there's the rub, isn't it? Healing takes time, sometimes decades. I remember asking you one time, very directly, if I choose to heal myself. My preference at the time was to be dead. And I was still weighing my options. Just how long is that going to take before I can have a normal life, free of pain and constant triggers? How long is that going to take? You told me straight up that it could take decades, but the pain would lessen and lessen along the way. No one lives a life completely free of pain, but eventually it would be more happiness than sadness. The only other option was to forever bathe in pain river, made up of bad choices, toxic people, and unhealed trauma. Worst yet, we pass these traits down to our children. We can't give them what we don't have. Children grow up and do not do what their parents say. They do what was modeled for them. In my work, I call these generational chains that get passed down from generation to generation. The only way to break these chains so that they don't get passed down is to face them and heal them. Then we pass down the strength, the wisdom, and the coping skills that healing the trauma gave us instead of the trauma. The bottom line was the only way I was going to be able to help my son heal was to heal myself first, so I could pass that down to him. And no matter how much pain I was ever in, ever, the fact was that I loved that boy far more than I wanted to die. And once you helped me realize that, taking my own life was never more an option. I had to face the pain that was in here, and I had to heal it, no matter how long that took. The thing was that I was so damn feral emotionally. Facing it and processing it at times was very ugly, chaotic, and dramatic. Despite this, your compassion for me and your genuine desire to help me never once wavered. Once I asked you why I keep making so many mistakes. Sunshine wants me out. The entire world shames and blames me. So why do you keep believing in me and wanting to help me? You could have easily washed your hands of me, let sunshine kick me out, and been free of me. But you didn't. You literally advocated and fought for me. Why? Ah, because I prayed about it, you said to me. And God told me that I was supposed to keep helping you because you were His and He has a special place or a special plan for your life. God had said those exact words to me a couple years before that when I was visited by an angelic being of light. It is still to this day the most powerful, meaningful, and life-altering conversations with spirit I have ever had. That, and the first one, I might add. That one visit was so big and profound that it took me many years to truly process it and understand what was said to me. The gist was that I was about to experience many, many more years of hardship. But through it, I would learn to heal deep levels of trauma. Then I could help millions of people heal their trauma too. I was told to follow God wherever He took me, especially into the darkest corners of humanity where most of society dare not go. And some of those corners I've never told you guys about. One day I will. He said He had angels in every corner of the world, and as long as I always followed the light, I would be safe. I would be safe. He would guide me with signs of light and send me help whenever I needed it. Wait, I read that wrong. And send the help I needed when I needed it. He would never abandon me, no matter how dark. No matter how dark it seemed sometimes, there was great purpose and reward at the end of my journey. He had a plan for my life, and all I had to do was trust Him and follow the light. I guess you can see how I ended up turning to and being led to a place called the Sunshine Center just a couple of years later. And then there you were saying God told you the same thing, that He had a plan for my life. That moment changed my life forever. Still, I never could have guessed where life was taking me back then or who God wanted me to be. What God has done in my life is beyond magical. Turns out He built me a little different than other people. I have way more than 5 physical senses. I have multiple spiritual and psychic senses as well. Healing my trauma and learning to love and accept myself for who God built me to be gave me the power to learn to utilize these senses. I learned to use them to navigate the world around me, just like Helen Keller learned, just as we use our physical senses to do. Many people have a lot of opinions and ideas about someone like me. Some call me evil. Some call me a witch. Some think I'm doing the devil's work. None of that has ever made sense to me for a few reasons. First of all, God built me this way and has led me through some of the darkest alleys a soul can go through in this world and kept me safe along the way. Secondly, the devil has attacked me and tried to take me out every step of the way. Last time I checked, the devil doesn't attack his own team. He often lets his demons live a life free of ease, free of problems, so that they never need to turn to God. But most importantly, the positive impact and healing that happens in people's lives when I use these senses to help them is so powerful and miraculous and loving that the devil could never and would never create that. The devil doesn't create love. 5 years ago, I read for it. Here's some examples, just two. And I'm going to take the personal details out of this so that I don't spill anybody's stuff here. So forgive me if I stumble a little through this. 5 years ago, I read for a lady in a wheelchair, crippled for over a decade after a brutal accident. God told her she would in God told her in the reading that she would walk again, even though she could not see that possibility, even if it was possible, because she was so hurt emotionally, she could not endure the physical pain of recovery on top of that emotional pain. Yesterday, the day I was writing this, she sent me a video of her up taking baby steps with a walker, thanking me for inspiring her to never giving up on myself either. The devil didn't do that. My phone will cooperate. Another lady was a very hurting mom who had lost her daughter to overdose. Addiction and overdose was so thick and rampant in her family that she never even considered healing as an option for her until the loving and undeniably specific and accurate messages from God and her daughter changed all of that for her. Over the next number of years and with regular sessions she completely overcame that addiction and more. That then her and her family, I'm taking out personal details. Then her and her family got sober. Together, they are helping heal and soberize many other souls in their family and community. The devil didn't do that. This is just two examples of literally thousands I could give you. The ripples of good and love and healing that are happening now because you and God believed in me then are nothing short of a miracle. So many times I have wished and prayed that God would show you the truth of who I am. And what he is using me to do and why you saved me. I wish you could see the ripple effect it is now having on so many lives. You guys, I wish you could see and hear your stories. Because they're not evil. Anyway. This Mother's Day, I will be hosting a small group of 30 at my friend's beautiful spa in Didsbury. I will be passing on messages from heaven to all those who attend, and my friend Andrea, who owns the spa, and a few of her employees will be offering mini facials and massages for low cost during the group. There will be a brunch and dessert and refreshments as well. It would be the biggest honor of my life if you could come as my guest. You are quite welcome to bring a friend with you as well. It would just mean so much for you, or for me, that you see for yourself what God has done and is doing in my life now. I would never be here helping God help them had he not sent you into my world so long ago. My gratitude will forever be endless. Even if you decide not to come on Mother's Day, please know that in your heart. I will post the event information at the end of this letter. Bring a friend if you want, and all spa services and everything is on me. Just a tiny gift to you for what you've given me, and in turn, so many others. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. I am so grateful, blessed, and better off for having known you. Thank you. I hope to see you on May 14th. All of my love. Tracy. I wrote that at the beginning of April, and I sent it off very early because I wanted to make sure she had lots of time to process the information, respond, decline, anything. I never heard a response back, so I just thought maybe she's just gonna show up because just surprise me, right? But I didn't hear anything. No response, no letter, no decline, no thank you, and no sorry, not gonna say the name. No counselor. This lady attended my wedding when I got married. She was there for every important part of my life until I started doing this work. And it's like that with a lot of people. Most of the people in my life, they exited when I started doing this. And the people that I love the most, that I want to support me, are all on that side now. So fast forward about a month later, or a month ago, 3, 4 weeks ago, I have this dip in my energy and I go, all right, God, you need to let me know if you still want me to do this, because this is getting harder and harder and harder. In some days it gets harder and harder and harder. Some days I feel like I'm floating and flying, right? And I'm getting to this. This story has a very funny ending, so you're going to want to stick around for that. I promise I'm almost done bawling my face off. Anyway, so I told God, I need you to make a point to me. Make me know that you want me to keep doing this, that it's worth it. Because I get a lot of hate, and the people that I love the most are sick of hearing me talk about spirit. They don't care. They don't support anything I do. And I have to be okay with that, because I have to hope that you guys care, and I know you guys do. And this is why I'm like, please help me help you share this, because anyway. So, God knew she wasn't going to show up. God knew that. And he knew that this was going to come full circle. He took me right back to that place at that time where my son was conceived, where it was like the birth of an enormous amount of trauma and pain that maybe I have been holding in for 30 years. I'm not sure. But what he did was so cool. What they did. And what you guys did, you don't even know. Gitika, you guys blew my freaking mind, okay? So, here, fast forward, okay? God knows that this lady's not going to show up. And the last few times that I've reached out, she's scared of me now. She thinks I'm evil, maybe. I don't know. Maybe she didn't get it. I doubt that. I know she still works there, but whatever. She didn't show. God knew she wasn't going to show. God knew I asked for some kind of sign, some kind of indication that I could not deny that I'm supposed to do this work. He knew. And he used you guys to help give me that message that this is what I'm supposed to do in a really cool way. So, Saturday, no, back up. So, Thursday, remember the one day I couldn't do a live? I wasn't live Thursday or Sunday. Sorry, quick little backup. That dip that I was talking about came around about the same time that I told you that God gave me that meditation that I'm supposed to get up here and do as many lives as I possibly can. Remember I told you guys that? That he told me to get up here and keep doing this as much as I can, like my life depended on it. He said, before you decide to quit, make sure, before you decide that they don't want to share it and they don't find value in what you say, unless you force them to, maybe just give me a minute here. Maybe just give it your all, he said. Just give it 30 days. Just go hard for 30 days like your life depended on it and see what happens. So I've been doing that. Thursday, I was pretty tired. I had readings all day, and my last reading turned into like a 3-hour reading. And so I was exhausted. I didn't get done till like 9:30. And when I was done, I looked down at my phone, and there was a text from my son's father, my ex. And him and I, We do our best to get along. It's not been easy. I know many of you probably understand what I'm talking about. And he has never really made it easy on me, and he has never given me very much credit, ever, 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 ever. But something happened on Thursday and hell froze over, I'm telling you. My son, a few days before, had asked me what I wanted for Mother's Day, and I said, I want a steak dinner with my kids. That's all I ever want. I love steak. That's my thing. What can I say? Anyway, so Thursday, after a very long dinner, or a very long day, I get this text message on my phone from my ex, and he said, table of four booked, or reservations for a table of four at the keg booked for Saturday at 6:45. Be there or be square. It's for me and my daughter. My other son had to work, and my younger son and him. He paid over $200 to take me out for dinner on Mother's Day. I was like, what? I can't even tell you how blessed that made me feel and how good that made me feel to receive some feedback from the man that really doesn't like me and never gives me credit. That was like, wow. So I was feeling good Thursday. Inspired me even more. I don't remember if I did a live on Friday. I think I did. But anyway, I know I did one Saturday because instead of being able to do it in the afternoon, I had to do it in the morning. And so nothing fills me up more than hearing your guys' validations. As you heard from that letter, I was, knowing that there's purpose coming from me learning how to heal that pain is what makes me tick. So Saturday's readings were pretty cool, actually. I'm going to share a picture with you here, Chelsea. I hope that's okay. Um, One of the readings on Saturday morning was about this lady that I talked to. It was her daughter's birthday. I think she was turning 11. I don't remember, but it was young daughter. It was her birthday. And this lady's daughter or dad was on the other side. And the daughter wanted a message from grandpa for her birthday. And so grandpa was saying something about giving her flowers, not roses, but flowers. And then he was giving her a kite. And the mom at the time didn't really know what I was talking about, the kite. And I'm like, he's telling me he knows what he's talking about. She's getting a kite for her birthday. He wants to go fly a kite with her. And so when I was done, I don't want to show you the picture and read you the message. And when I was done the live, because you guys hear me doing this all the time and saying stuff like that, and I don't always know in the moment what it means. And I'm like, when you validate that, let me know. And you guys don't always hear the validations, but those validations, I'm telling you right now, they make my entire year. And this one certainly did. I want to share it with you. So when I was done, she messaged me and she said, thank you so much for the reading today. After your message, my daughter opened her gift. She got shorts with flowers, no roses, just flowers, just like you said. And then I was randomly in my laundry room after that, and I think to myself, look up. And what do I see? A kite, just like you mentioned. So now we are going to bring it to her birthday dinner and go fly it. And I want you guys to see the picture she sent me because this little girl's face says it all. She's like, they probably had that kite there since like the spring before and forgot all about it. But Grandpa wants to do things with her. And flying a kite uses energy so he could do it with her. It's like so cool. Look at this beautiful little girl and look at her face. I hope the camera will pick it up. She's just absolutely shocked. So, see, that message just had me like, woo, awesome. And I was all pumped up thinking maybe my counselor's going to be there because she didn't write me back. And why would she let me down like that and just completely not respond at all? Like, she wouldn't do that, would she? No, she wouldn't do that, so she's got to be there, and I get to get dressed up for dinner, and I've lost so much weight, so I actually got to put on a dress that I felt sexy in for the first time. And let me tell you, walking up to dinner looking like you've lost 75 pounds to a dinner with your ex is fun. I don't care who you are, even though if you're not interested in them anymore. Feels good when you make them do a double take. It was awesome. I was having the greatest time. But anyway, I skipped ahead of the best part. So I do that beginning live part, right? Then I go on to my members live, you guys. My members live is private through Zoom. 2 of my members come on. Beta and Gitika. And Beta lives in St. Catharines, which is my hometown. That's where I'm from. That's where my grandma and my dad and my grandpa lived. That's where that grandma I was telling you about, the one that loved me more than anything in this world. That's where they lived. um, and anyway, so Beta and Gitika met through my membership, and Gitika went down there for Beta to drive her around and give her the tour of St. Catharines. And they came on and they're like together and they're telling me this, and I'm like, that is so cool. I'm like, you should show her the church, because there's a very special church there that my grandparents belonged to. I'm telling you, I came from a very religious family. My grandparents were very deep Catholic, and they lived literally directly across the street from that church, St. Thomas Aquinas Church in St. Catharines. The house directly across the street, 317 Queenston, that's where they lived. And for 50 years, and in the yard of the church, in the field of the church that belongs to the church, a property, whatever you want to call it, my grandfather in 1975 built a shrine, this big, beautiful stone shrine to the Virgin Mary. And it still stands there to this day. It's gorgeous. He hand chiseled all the stones. They came from different parts of the world. Mother Mary came from Rome, was blessed by the Pope, all of it. And it's a very special place to my heart, because that shrine represents... Give me a second. Yeah. That shrine represents prayers answered. That's literally what the shrine means. If you're in the St. Catharines area, I encourage you to go there, because that shrine stands only because God answers prayers. My grandfather wouldn't let them put a plaque up on it to say who built it until after he died. In 1997, the plaque was put up there after he died. This is what it says. This is the little plaque that hangs from it. I don't have the other picture of it handy. I'll post it when I'm done my live. But it says, a labor of love. This shrine was erected by Laurent Lamar in 1975, the year before I was born, in honor of the Blessed Virgin Mary, for prayers answered. When my grandfather was young... Gross. Ugh. I'm so sorry. When my grandfather was young, his sister got tuberculosis. And he prayed to the Virgin Mary that if she healed his sister, he would one day build that shrine to her. And he built that shrine to her. The year before I was born. And my grandma grew up telling me every day that I was her miracle baby. She wanted a girl so bad, and there's an even longer story on how my dad was conceived, which was the only biological child. He was also the miracle baby, and I was the miracle baby girl that came out of her miracle baby. Anyway, I grew up with that story my whole life. So, here we are, Saturday, May 13th, the day before Mother's Day, which Beta and Gitika had absolutely zero knowledge of knowing what that day actually is. Yeah, it's the day before my son's birthday. May 13th, 2010, my grandma died. May 13th, 2021, my father died. You guys showed up together on my news feed, on my video. They drove to the church. They put the church on the camera. They showed all my members. They brought my grandfather's shrine, which represents answered prayers, to me on the same day that they died. If that doesn't tell you that God's listening and answering my prayers and that my loved ones were there with me, I don't. It gets better. They had no way of knowing that. And I tell you guys all the time, don't focus on the date that they died because it'll make you feel pain. And I take that personal advice very literal. And I don't focus on those dates. I look at it as that's their heavenly birthday. And I knew on May 13th, 2021, when my dad died on the same day that his mother died on, that that was her way of letting me know she came to get him and that they were at peace. And my dad and I were not even on speaking terms when he passed. Again, my frickin' job. Nobody understands what I do. And so them showing up for me on Mother's Day, when the people here who said that they loved me and they would be here for me will not show up for me. My cheering section showed up on Mother's Day on the same day that they died. They had You can't make that up. And if that's not enough, get this, okay? Why did my ex all of a sudden invite me to dinner? Ha! Never underestimate the power of a daddy's love. You guys hear me say that all the time. Let me tell you, in 13 years, my ex has never taken me to dinner like that. Never. But a few days before, he found a brooch at his work. He works as a maintenance guy for a bunch of buildings and stuff, and he found this really old brooch. And I wish I had it right now. I don't. I put it away, and it's over there, and I'm not going to go get it. I don't want to waste your time, but here nor there. It's this really old brooch. And he gave it to my son, and he's like, here, do you want to give this to your mom? I was thinking your mom might like this. And I never wear brooches. When have you ever seen me wear a brooch? Huh. However, one of the only things my grandma left me was her brooch collection. They're just cheap costume jewelry brooches, but she loved them, and she wore a different one on every occasion, and most of them were from my dumb kid ass mailing them to her across the country. And she kept every one of them, and I still have them. So they coordinated that through my ex, gave him the brooch, and my son presented me with that at dinner. And then the next day, I find myself smack dab where I was 30 years ago when I started on this journey. I want to tell you the funny part, right? So, as I'm driving home last night, and why am I so emotional? Because as I was driving home last night, and I can't even remember, unfortunately for me, I don't get to remember the beautiful messages and stuff that get passed on. I'm channeling, so I remember bits and pieces of it, but really I don't have a memory of it. So unfortunately, I don't get to know if it was a great experience for y'all. I think it was. I think people seemed happy. I could tell by the energy. I'm pretty sure it was a pretty great event. I didn't feel bad about it, I'll tell you that. But I was still a little sad that my counselor didn't show up, and I was still trying to process that it's okay that I have to let her go, and that I have to understand that not everybody understands what I do, and that's okay. And that sometimes the people that help us heal from one thing are the people that we have to let go of tomorrow to continue on our journey. And I know that I'm being trained with that lesson. And I just want to wish her so much. I don't think she'll ever hear this, but I tagged Sunshine in this, so they might block me. I don't know. But maybe one day she'll hear that and just know how meaningful it was to me. But so I'm coming home, and so that's what's in my mind as I'm driving home. Like, where was she? Like, did I? Anyway, so I get home, or I'm start driving home. Now this is where it gets funny. Okay, God has a way of cheering you up at the end. Everything happens for a reason. So at the event yesterday, I'm channeling spirit, and I don't have my own brain, so I'm not even really thinking. And it's Sunday. My ex drops my son off at 6 o'clock on Sunday evening, but I did not even leave Didsbury until just after 6 Sunday evening. And I wasn't even thinking my son was coming home. I was in a different place, and my head was just whirling with all of these coincidences, alignments, synchronicities going on all around me. It's just going nuts. So I get this phone call from this number I don't recognize, and it's this guy. He's like, "Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm your neighbor." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Yeah, I have your kid here. He's wants to talk to you." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Immediately, I know that my kid is at my house, locked out. And initially, I'm pissed. I'm like, "Where's your dad?" And he's like, "He dropped me off and left." And I'm like, "What?" And at first, I was pissed. I was like, "He should not have done that." I was like, "Oh my God, buddy, I'm an hour away. I'm still an hour away. I got to drop your grandma off, and then I got to get, like, it's going to be an hour." So I'm like, "Go in the backyard, and I will be there as soon as I can get there." I'm speeding like crazy. I'm heading home. Not speeding like crazy. Actually, that's not true. I wasn't even too panicked. I was just like, okay, my mind's too reeling to be too panicked. It didn't feel good, but here nor there. I'm like, "Go in the backyard, do your thing, make yourself comfortable. You're about to learn what it's like to be an 80s kid. Make yourself comfortable. I'll be home as soon as I can." And um, so then I told the neighbor, I was like, "Listen, I appreciate you just keeping an eye on, make sure he stays in that yard. Like, I appreciate you just helping out with that. I'll make it up to you when I get home." So I come back from my event, and I got big crock pot full of pulled pork still in my trunk because my brother-in-law, who owns the Iron Grill, just so you know, all of you that came to the event and wanted the food information, I'm going to post it in another post. When I'm done this one, I'll post it in a special post, a thank you post for him. But they're just starting their business. It was absolutely delicious. It's a smoked meat catering business, and so they provided smoked pork and smoked chicken, and it was the yummiest thing we've ever tasted, I'm telling you. And smoked cream cheese. It was delicious. Anywho, so I still have, they made a lot of food though. So I still had this big crock pot full of pulled pork. And I have really freaking picky kids, and most of them don't like meat. So I'm like, what am I going to do with all this pulled pork? So I came home, and I go to knock on my neighbor's door. I'm thanking him, and I see this young man. There's two, like, I don't know, 30-year-old men. Men like beef, men like meat, men like pulled pork. I'm like, "Hey, I know how to make this up to you. You like pork?" This man's like, "What?" I've never even spoken to him before. He's like, "Do I like pork?" And I'm like, "I got this big thing of pulled pork," and I'm trying to talk real fast so I don't sound like a complete freak. But I'm like, "Listen, I got all this leftover pulled pork. It's really delicious. My kids won't eat it. Can I give it to you as a gift? Will you eat it? It's expensive and it's wonderful, but it'll go to waste in my house." He's like, sure. So I ran over, put it all in a big container, gave it to him, and there you go. The neighbor got a big thing of pulled pork. It did not go to waste. My son got let in the house. Everything worked out, and I got my ass kicked from God to let me know that prayers are answered. Sometimes healing is messy and it's ugly, and sometimes the people that support us on one part of our journey are not going to be there to support us on the other part of our journey. But I really do think that I'm doing the right thing up here, guys, and I want you all to know that I'm not up here trying to convince anybody of anything. I tell you guys this all the time. I'm not up here trying to prove anything to you. I'm up here because this is where God has led me to be, and because seeing the way that the messages and the validations from your loved ones impact your lives give me literally meaning to keep being here and doing this work and feeling like everything that I've been through has been worth it. So I want you to know, all of you to know just how special you are, and how every time you send me a validation, something that you can validate that was said, or every time you share your stories publicly, every time you share my stuff, I feel validated. And that is the greatest gift that you could ever give me. And I know this was a long, weepy, bullshit, blah story, so if you're still here listening, thank you. Just know how deeply you guys all mean to me, and that this is not a game to me. I take this very seriously, and I love you all more than you could ever possibly know. When I come home from an event like that, I come home to an empty house. I mean, my kids are here, but trust me, they don't want to hear about spirit. They want to tell me what they did in the weekend, and they want me to cook, and they want me to clean up stuff, and they want to talk about the cat, and you know what I mean? I don't have a cheering squad in my life. I don't. My friends don't want to hear about this. They want to tell me about their stuff, and you guys are my cheering squad, and I need you to know how deeply I appreciate each and every one of you. This Mother's Day, God found a really unique way, and my family found a really unique way through all of you to let me know that it doesn't matter who walks out of my life. I got them, and I got you, and that's all I need. So thank you guys. I'll be back tomorrow stronger. I'm going to get a lot more sleep tonight. Like I said, 4 hours. It's been an emotional up and down, as I'm sure you can understand, ride, but I'm going to get lots of sleep tonight, and I'm going to be good to go tomorrow. So thank you guys for being here and listening to all of this and putting up with all of this. Please know how much I love you. I will see you tomorrow.